Okay, first step is learn to record videos. Second step is learn to edit later. So that when cats start fighting, I don't have to stop recording. Anyway, back to playing Dear Esther. This is part 2 of our Walk With Me Gaming playthrough. And we're back.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times.
I'm going to follow
But although
a ghost.
I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence.
There he is.
It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
There's our ghost. We are following a ghost. And it's started to move. So, this is a cool part because you kind of have to know where it is. But if you don't know where it is, it's really spooky. Because you just see this dark shadow in the corner of your eye. And every time you look at it, they're gone. You have to be looking in the corner. It's a nice effect. I kind of wish more games did stuff like that. Because it really makes it... it's not scary. It's just kind of creepy. And this game is kind of creepy. I mean, it relates so much to death and decay and sadness and loss and loneliness. There's just so much to it. A nice little thing here too is that the way the rocks go, by the time I get to him or her, whatever it is, I have to pass out of sight. So by the time I actually get to it, it'll be gone. So, a nice touch for a game. And yet, it still feels like maybe it shouldn't be there. Which I think is the perfect way to do something like this.
I sat when I was at the very edge of despair, when I thought I would never unlock the secret of the island. I sat at the edge, and I watched the idiot boy blink through the night.
Boy.
He's mute, and he's retarded, and he has no thought in his metal head but to blink each wave and each minute aside until the morning comes and renders him blind as well as deaf-mute. In many ways, we have much in common.
I was not expecting that. That actually, like I said, I messed up where my cat started fighting in the middle of things. So I just restarted this chapter. And that speech was actually different from the last one. So it's kind of cool. He neither ate nor drank. The cool graffiti on the cool boats. I do love these shipwrecks. There's something beautiful about them, like a beached whale. And now I'm starting to sound like the narrator. I just need a nice English accent just to cover me. Enough. Please, and I do apologize if I start speaking with a British accent. I have this problem when I listen to Harry Potter audiobooks as well. Can't help it. I just like to copy accents. It's just so brutally nothing. There's nothing you can do with this now. It's just gone. Rusted and hollow. It fits perfectly with this game. And still, it's very pretty in its own special way. I don't know. It's just walking past it, you're just like, wow, look at this. It's massive and it's just completely abandoned, useless now. And yet it had such an important purpose before, and now it's just nothing. This is where I'm starting to sound like what you get on a walk with me. So, which is the goal of this, I guess. It's just kind of rambling about the things that we see and this game in general. That buoy out there, or boy, as he would say. So we're going to walk over to the edge where there's absolutely nothing, but I think there's one little piece of audio once we get over here. So I guess it's all been worth it. So,
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
thank you for that little input. And that's all we got. I forgot there really wasn't much of anything in terms of addition, but whatever. Still nice. This is, I think, when I did a practice run on this, this was the part where I struggled to say anything as well. We're walking away from the boat. We've already seen the boat. We don't care. It's just a sandy, grassy path. There's nothing to it, so there's nothing to say. So...
I had kidney stones, and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island.
Oh, that sounds
and made
horrible.
their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
And now we're starting to detail the story a little bit more. Someone was lost from drunk driving. Yeah. Although, I swear when he says that kidney stone thing, I just cringe because I'm like, oh no, please don't. I'm gonna... Can I go down here? I don't know if I've been down here. Whoa. Slipping on the rocks. They're...
What charnel house lies at the foot of this abyss? How many dead shepherds could fill this hole?
There must be water down there because it's like glistening. That's a nice effect. Also terrifying. Like, seriously, if I saw like a hole like that, I feel like I'd think the same thing. Like, oh my gosh, like this is just where you just sacrifice people to, right? This is the sacrifice hole. Put all the shepherds in, and there we go. It's creepy. And I love that there's supposed to be a fence here, but they just kind of gave up. That is laughter, and it's terrifying. This game does sound design so well. Just subtle hints of something not quite right. And we turn to the hill. The hill of the shepherd's house, I guess. So here we go. Up the long, winding road. And music cue.
I've begun my ascent on the green slope of the western side.
It's very pretty.
I've looked deep into the mountain from the shaft and understood that I must go up and then find the way under.
I think something happens here.
I will stash the last vestiges of my civilization in the stone walls and work deeper from there. I'm drawn by the aerial and the cliff edge. There is some form of rebirth waiting for me there.
Ghost yells. Medical equipment. This is little subtle pieces of stuff. Like, this is clearly not in the right place, and I think that's where it kind of gives that dreamlike sense of like you're reliving this, but also like it's like a story being told. Man, those strings are so haunting. Again, I love what they do with the sound design in this game, because it just adds this tone to it. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by my cat who's climbing on things.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By
That'll be
then,
good.
shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst
Jakobsen
building
was
the
an
bothy,
ugly
hoping
man.
eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage.
Nope.
Donnelly records that it did not work.
Oh, that's a
He
shame.
caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it.
That's pretty
There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him.
depressing. Just a dead goat herder trying to find a family. Can't do it. I'm sorry, but if you can't charm people out on a beautiful island like this, then yeah, you need some work. I didn't realize I was walking on the log. Like a balancing act. Like I'm a kid again. I tried to jump off with the spacebar. There is no jump in this game. Don't expect there to be.
Inventory. A trestle table we spread wallpaper on in our first home. A folding chair. I laughed at you for bringing camping in the lakes. I was uncomfortable later and you laughed then. This diary, the bed with the broken springs. Once asleep you have to remember not to dream. A change of clothes. Donnelly's book, stolen from Edinburgh Library on the way here. I will burn them all on the last morning and make an aerial of my own.
I can't... Did he mention the book in the first... When we started playing? He didn't mention the book. I just realized. So, a lot of the playthroughs in the first section, he mentions that he stole a library book. Maybe he did. Maybe I've just heard this too many times. Burned books for warmth. And I'm just looking at things and trying to remember stuff. I'm going into too much detail now, which is funny because I'm not detailing anything really, because it's just a handful of objects in an empty feeling world. Seagulls. Goodbye, gulls. Anyway, moving on. This really would be like what I'd be like on a walk. Just look at the thing. Oh, that's nice. Let's keep going. 'Cause I do like to just keep moving. There's no reason not to. Cliff's edges. You know, looking down there, you kind of wonder, like, all those stones, like, were they put there like that? They can't be. Like, it makes a perfect little path up. And this is nice, you get to experience all this beauty on the long walk. And yeah, it is slow, but you're seeing something of interest at every turn. There's something new. Even if it's just more ocean. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you go to the beach, you don't look out and go, more
Jacobson's
ocean.
ribcage, they told Donnelly, was deformed. The result of some birth defect, or perhaps a traumatic injury as a child. Brittle and overblown it was, and desperately light. Perhaps it was this that finally did for him. Unable to contain the shattering of his heart. In half-light, his skeleton a discarded prop. A false and calcified seabird.
Oh my god. Okay. Turning off notifications. Because that just scared the crap out of me. Oh man. I assume that'll probably pop up on the video too. Great. So now I have that. So you guys get to enjoy my spam mail.
They found Jacobson in early spring. The thaw had only just come.
Frozen
Even though
solid.
he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose.
Scary that is
All
pretty
around him,
real.
small flowers
That
were
stuff like
reaching
that
for the weak
happens.
sun. The goats had adjusted happily to life without a shepherd and were grazing freely about the valley. Donnelly reports they hurled the body in fear and disgust down the shaft, but I cannot corroborate this story.
So, that giant hole that we found really is full of shepherds? Gross. The sun is so nice here. Just those little rays of light. It feels very angelic. I wish the weather was like this where I live. It's mostly just really hot right now. Dang, global warming. Places like this are going to be underwater. We won't even have the caves of the third part of this playthrough. Everything will be flooded. Because I am not scuba diving. No, thank you. Stuff is unpleasant to me. There's no way I would do that. But I am not a brave of heart person. Not for stuff like that. I'll protect the human life. That I'm fine with. But I am not going parasailing or scuba diving or any of that stuff. That's why I'm playing a video game of this kind of stuff instead. Why explore when you could play a game? And I'll tell you why, because playing a game's cheaper than going over to Scotland and seeing this yourself. I'm gonna impale myself. I'm such a child. Moving on. This is probably me just being really tired. but this part's almost done.
Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and have injured my leg. I think the femur is
this
broken.
music.
It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
Gosh, that music just gives you chills. Like, I can't... Every time I hear it, doesn't matter. I know it's coming. Okay, I kind of love this, because this suitcase is just a picture of clothes in a suitcase. I can't tell if that's just because I have, like, settings turned down, or if it's just that bad in general, but it makes me smile. Something to kind of take you out of the whole, like, oh, this is a world we're exploring, and like, oh, no, it's actually a game. Not like it's that difficult to interpret, but I think after this, I'm going to try and mow the lawn, and I'll do parts 3 and 4 after a nap, because I am starting to lose consciousness and interest, as I'm sure some of you are. Like I said before, this game is not for everyone. And my style of playing this game is not for everyone. Not everyone wants to just wander through a game that doesn't require quote-unquote gameplay. And I understand if people don't want to watch these. But if you do, and you like it, just having someone just talking in the background, cool. Because that's what I'm here for, I guess. It's kind of how I ramble at my job, too. To fill the time. God, my gosh. Again, like, if I saw this in real life, I'd just have anxiety that I'd be the one person that one of these cracks off and slams into my skull or something. Unpleasant thoughts. But I'm sure I'm not the first to think it. I don't remember if this is the end of part 2. I don't think it is yet. But if it is, Geronimo.